This video has been brought to you by Spectorals Inc.
And we right back with the shit with part 4 of the winter season anime 2024 previews. So we're into the section of where I like to talk about every season where they will have a few very experimental types of anime, but they're very in the familiarity pocket that everybody is used to with certain genre types, but they're different enough to where they will pique most people's interest. But whether or not they take off and become successful series, ongoing series or not, is anybody's guess. But the anime industry will try this every season, and usually during the winter and spring season, they're very aggressive with these types of animes, as has been the case for probably 15 years now. So let's talk about the 5 test anime of the winter season. So Buchigiri is basically the delinquent meets fantasy series. And I think this is going to be a pretty interesting premise. Now, there really isn't a great synopsis for this. What they say in the synopsis is Araji Tomobishi, he meets up with his friend that he used to be cool with, Makata Asamine, and some demon basically breaks into their plane and they start fighting, or at least that's what I'm assuming. So I'm gonna check it out. I love the ones that don't have a lot of information on them and not a lot of people have talked about them. These are the hidden gems of the seasons. 7th time loop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy. So essentially this is a villainess isekai regression story. And so again, that's why I say that usually these are the animes that are experimental, and this has 3 genres in one, so it definitely qualifies. So the main heroine, Riche, she has essentially reincarnated in a time loop 7 different times. And so with any regression story, the main point of the regression story is to right the wrongs of your previous life. But this time, or the 7th time in her case, she's going to do everything that she possibly can to live her ultimate life with the person that killed her in her previous life. So this is going to be a pretty interesting idea concept, and I want to see how they execute it, and I think it's going to be pretty good. Sasaki to Pichan is probably for me the most under talked about anime IP that's coming out during the winter season, and for good reason, because the premise of this particular series reminds me a lot of saving 80,000 gold in another world for my retirement. And the reason why I feel this way is because this is what I like to call a blessing premise, but it's also a fantasy anime that's not your typical fantasy anime. So essentially our main character Sasaki lives a droll corporate life. He goes to a pet store to try to spice his life up with, taking care of another life, only to find out that the bird that he picked out is actually a sage from another world who bestows Sasaki with supernatural powers and the ability to cross worlds, much like the main character from Saving 80,000 Gold in Another World. And so it's nice to see Japan starting to animate the reverse isekais as well as the regression stories as well as the portal stories, because I feel like that the isekai genre and the fantasy genre has kind of stagnated to some degree, so it's good to see. With the success of Parallel World Pharmacy, we're starting to see a lot of apothecary or pharmacy style fantasy isekais, fantasy series, or historical drama type series, which is good to see because everybody likes a good apothecary or a good pharmacist, and they tend to be really well done as animes. So this is a Korea manhwa / webtoon that's getting turned into an anime, and you know how I feel about that because, Bilibee. This isn't being done by Bilibee as far as I can tell. It looks like they're putting a decent bit of money into it, so I'm definitely going to check it out. Premise is short and sweet. Dr. Song was a professor at a leading college of medicine in Korea, but she was kind of a bitch, and so she's about to meet an untimely death over the ocean, and she wakes up as Princess Elsie once again, enlightened with the medical knowledge of a master surgeon. It's a regression mixed with isekai. The medical / apothecary / pharmacy series have not missed yet, so I'm definitely going to be watching this week's week. The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil is the fantasy comedy slice of life of the 5 that I have here, and it's got the demon versus angel dynamic in it, which pretty much nobody gets tired of, to be honest. Akutsu Masatora, he's a demon that's infiltrated a high school in order to find candidates to help him in his fight against angels, only to find another student who's transferred into the school is an angel, and they end up kind of interacting with each other and probably slightly having some kind of antagonistic relationship with each other. It seems like it's going to be pretty decent, pretty funny. It may not be one that I watch week to week. It's probably one that I watch like every 4 to 6 episodes, but it seems pretty decent though. We did 5 animes in this video under 6.5 minutes. That's what I'm talking about, efficiency. But that's it for part 4 of the anime previews for 2023. I'll see you in part 5. It's probably going to go up to 7 to 8 parts.